History. View of the harbor front in 1841. The area surrounding the Toronto harbor has been used for shipping and industrial purposes since the settlement of York. Toronto's harbor has been used since the founding of Toronto for shipping and industrial purposes. The town of York was founded to the west of the Don River along the waterfront. When the town was founded, the water's edge was approximately where today's Front Street is located. Over time, the area south of Front Street to today's water's edge south of Queens Quay was filled in with landfill, creating piers and area for industrial development. Prior to the 1970 federal election, Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau announced the Harbourfront Project, which would expropriate the industrial port lands from York Street West to Bathurst Street, south of Queens Quay, and convert them to a cultural and residential district for Toronto, similar to the Granville Island district. The federal government has converted the industrial area to an area mixed with art galleries, performance spaces, boating areas, and parks. The surrounding neighborhood, formerly industrial, has been converted by private land developers into a series of condominium towers overlooking the project and Lake Ontario. Harbourfront Centre was formed in 1991 in an effort to create a waterfront park in Toronto. From its beginnings as Harbourfront Corporation, a federal crown corporation established in 1972, Harbourfront Centre was formed on January 1, 1991. As a nonprofit charitable organization with a mandate to organize and present public events and to operate a 4.0 hectares 10-acre site encompassing York Quay and John Quay south of Queens Quay West. Since its inception, Harbourfront Centre has been used by artists whose work would not normally be seen in commercial venues in an effort to foster new forms of arts and expression. In July 2012, Waterfront Toronto began a major reconstruction of Queens Quay West, requiring the 509 streetcar to be replaced with buses for the duration of the construction. 1. On October 12, 2014, streetcar service resumed on 509 Harbourfront route after an absence of over 2 years in order to rebuild the street to a new design. With the new street design, to auto lanes south of the Toronto Transit Commission's TTC streetcar tracks were eliminated between Spadina Avenue and York Street in order to extend Harbourfront Parkland to the edge of the streetcar tracks. The Martin Goodman Trail, a bicycle path to rows of trees, benches, and a wider pedestrian space are located on the immediate south side of the streetcar tracks, too. Stretching over 3,600 kilometers, 2,236 miles from Prince Township west of Sault Ste. Marie to the Quebec border. The Great Lakes Waterfront Trail is a signed route of interconnecting roads and off-road trails joining over 150 communities and First Nations along the Canadian shores of the Great Lakes, and the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail is part of a strategy to protect and connect people to the largest group of freshwater lakes on Earth. It is a legacy project of the Waterfront Regeneration Trust, a charity, and its community partners. Through Toronto, the trail is called the Martin Goodman Trail. The Waterfront Trail is also used by commuters in parts of southern Ontario. 1.
Expansion and future plans. In October 2013, Premier of Ontario Kathleen Wynne announced government support for expansion of the trail system to better connect the 2015 Pan Am Games venues and community. I want to ensure that all of the people of this province benefit from our investments in the Pan Am and Para-Pan Am Games, because that is how we can grow as one Ontario. Extending our trail system and connecting more communities is a great way for the excitement of the Games to live on well beyond 2015. Kathleen Wynne, Premier of Ontario, October 3, 2013 2. The announcement ensures that the province will work with First Nation and Métis communities and organizations to incorporate Aboriginal markers along the trails to honor the history and culture of Aboriginal communities in Ontario. Trails will connect to for major Pan Am and Para-Pan Am Games venues: CIBC Pan Am, Para-Pan Am Athletes Village, CIBC Pan Am Park, CIBC Hamilton Soccer Stadium, and Pan Am, Para-Pan Am Fields. All consultations related to Pan Am, Para-Pan Am trails will address accessibility requirements under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. In November 2013, two waterfront design firms were selected to reimagine the space at the former Ontario Place grounds in Toronto to incorporate a broader mandate for green space and parkland. 3. Since 2013, the trail has been growing radically, with expansions along the shores of Lake Erie, Lake Huron, Georgian Bay and Lake Huron's North Channel, adding over 2,000 kilometers to its length.
Expansion and future plans. In October 2013, Premier of Ontario Kathleen Wynne announced government support for expansion of the trail system to better connect the 2015 Pan Am Games venues and community. I want to ensure that all of the people of this province benefit from our investments in the Pan Am and Para-Pan Am Games because that is how we can grow as one Ontario. Extending our trails system and connecting more communities is a great way for the excitement of the Games to live on well beyond 2015. Kathleen Wynne, Premier of Ontario, October 3, 2013 2. The announcement ensures that the province will work with First Nation and Métis communities and organizations to incorporate Aboriginal markers along the trails to honor the history and culture of Aboriginal communities in Ontario. Trails will connect to four major Pan Am and Para-Pan Am Games venues: CIBC Pan Am, Para-Pan Am Athletes Village, CIBC Pan Am Park, CIBC Hamilton Soccer Stadium, and Pan Am Para-Pan Am Fields. All consultations related to Pan Am, Para-Pan Am trails will address accessibility requirements under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. In November 2013, two waterfront design firms were selected to reimagine the space at the former Ontario Place grounds in Toronto to incorporate a broader mandate for green space and parkland. 3. Since 2013, the trail has been growing radically with expansions along the shores of Lake Erie, Lake Huron, Georgian Bay, and Lake Huron's North Channel, adding over 2,000 kilometers to its length.
Regional municipalities connected by the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail: Frontenac County, Northumberland County, Regional Municipality of Durham, Region of Peel, Niagara Region, Essex County, Lambton County, Huron County, Bruce County, Grey County, Simcoe County, Muska District. Notable waypoints. The rise of social travel and photography have paralleled with the rise of smaller wearable technological advancements that permits travelers along the trail a variety of activities and destinations. Toronto Harbour Front location, 4336 55.12 and 7923 28.21 W. The jewel of the waterfront trail lies at the Toronto Islands Ferry Terminal, where trail users can catch a ferry to the expansive Toronto Isla, including Centre Island and Hanlan's Point Beach. In 2015, the waterfront trail is expected to connect to the huge underground Toronto Path system. Cyclists and skaters are encouraged on the peaceful island where only utility vehicles are permitted. Among the artistic touches of this portion of the trail include the architecturally renowned wave decks, designed by West8. 5. Regional municipalities connected by the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail: Frontenac County, Northumberland County, Regional Municipality of Durham, Region of Peel, Niagara Region, Essex County, Lambton County, Huron County, Bruce County, Grey County, Simcoe County, Muska District. Notable waypoints. The rise of social travel and photography have paralleled with the rise of smaller wearable technological advancements that permits travelers along the trail a variety of activities and destinations. Toronto Harbour Front location, 4336 55.12 and 7923 28.21 W. The jewel of the waterfront trail lies at the Toronto Islands Ferry Terminal, where trail users can catch a ferry to the expansive Toronto Isla, including Centre Island and Hanlan's Point Beach. In 2015, the waterfront trail is expected to connect to the huge underground Toronto Path system. Cyclists and skaters are encouraged on the peaceful island where only utility vehicles are permitted. Among the artistic touches of this portion of the trail include the architecturally renowned wave decks, designed by West8. 5. Regional municipalities connected by the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail: Frontenac County, Northumberland County, Regional Municipality of Durham, Region of Peel, Niagara Region, Essex County, Lambton County, Huron County, Bruce County, Gree County, Simcoe County, Muska District. Notable waypoints. The rise of social travel and photography have paralleled with the rise of smaller wearable technological advancements that permits travelers along the trail a variety of activities and destinations. Toronto Harbourfront location, 4336 55.12 and 7920.
E-bike explosion. Retrieved the 22nd of July 2014. 5 signs of a revitalized Toronto waterfront. The Globe and Mail. The 25th of July 2014. Retrieved the 29th of July 2014. 1000 Islands Bike Path. Canada Trails. Retrieved the 12th of February 2008. Ontario Place to Get $100 Million Makeover. Blog 2. Retrieved the 4th of August 2014. Is Canada missing the boat on cycling tourists? CBC News. The 27th of July 2014. Retrieved the 29th of July 2014. A trail, also known as a path or track, is an unpaved lane or a small paved road not intended for usage by motorized vehicles, usually passing through a natural area. In the United Kingdom and Ireland, a path or footpath is the preferred term for a pedestrian or hiking trail. 1. The term is also applied in North America to accompanying routes along rivers and sometimes to highways. In the U.S., the term was historically used for a route into or through wild territory used by explorers and migrants, for example, the Oregon Trail. In the United States, trace is a synonym for trail, as in Natchez Trace. Some trails are dedicated only for walking, cycling, horse riding, snowshoeing, or cross-country skiing, but not more than one use. Others, as in the case of a bridleway in the UK, are shared use and can be used by pedestrians, cyclists, and equestrians alike. Although most trails are for low-traffic, non-motorized usage, there are also unpaved trails used by dirt bikes, quad bikes, and other off-road vehicles, usually for extreme sports and rally races. In some places, like the Alps, trails are used by alpine agrarian communities for moving cattle and other livestock. In Australia, the term track can be used interchangeably with trail or walk and can refer to anything from a dirt road to an unpaved pedestrian path. 2. Photograph of a wooden walkway in a jungle with 2 people observing a waterfall. Jungle trail inside KLI Airport. In New Zealand, the terms track or walkway are used almost exclusively except when referring to cross-country skiing. Walkways vary enormously in nature, from short urban strolls to moderate coastal locations to challenging tramps. Hikes in the high country. Mountains, 3 walkway is used similarly in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada, where the Grand Concourse is an integrated walkway system. 4. In the United Kingdom, the term trail is in common usage. Longer-distance walking routes and government-promoted long-distance paths, collectively known as national trails, are also frequently called ways, as in the Pennine Way and South Downs Way. Generally, the term footpath is preferred for pedestrian routes, including long-distance trails, and is used for urban paths and sometimes in place of pavement. Track is used for wider paths wide enough for vehicles, often used for hiking. The terms bridleway, byway, restricted byway are all recognized legal terms and to a greater or lesser extent in general usage. The increased popularity of mountain biking has led to a proliferation of mountain bike trails in many countries. 5 often these will be grouped to form larger complexes known as trail centers. In the early years of the 20th century, the term auto trail was used for a marked highway route. 6 and trail is now used to designate routes, including highway routes designated for tourist interest like the Cabot Trail, Nova Scotia, Canada, and the Quilt Trails in the U.S. The term trail has been used by developers and urban planners for a variety of modern paved roads, highways, and boulevards in these countries, and some highways continue to be officially called a trail. such as the Susquehanna Trail in Pennsylvania, a designation that varies from a 2-lane road to a 4-lane freeway. An unusual use of the term is in the Canadian province of Alberta, which has multi-lane freeways called trails. 7. History: photograph of a dirt trail through a forest. The Natchez Trace is a trail that was created and used by Native Americans in the United States for centuries and was later used by early European and Americans. Further information: ancient trackway, old military roads of Scotland, and hiking section history. Animals created the first trails, which were later adapted by humans. 8. Subsequently, farmers moved cattle to market along drove roads and between winter and summer grazing, creating trails. 9. 10. More recently, former industrial routes, such as railway rights-of-way and canal towpaths, have been turned into recreational trails. Many historic routes, like the Silk Road, the Amber Road, and the Royal Road of the Persian Empire, existed before the Christian era and covered great distances. The Post Track, a prehistoric causeway in the valley of the River Brue in the Somerset Levels, England, is one of the oldest known constructed trackways and dates from around 3838 BC. 11. The idea of following a path or track for exercise or pleasure developed during the 18th century in Europe and arose because of changing attitudes to the landscape and nature associated with the Romantic movement. 12. In earlier times, walking generally indicated poverty and was associated with vagrancy. 13. 83-297. In previous centuries, long walks were undertaken as part of religious pilgrimages, and this tradition continues throughout the world. The first footpath built specifically for recreational hiking in America, and likely the world, is the Crawford Path in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. The path was blazed in 1819 by Abel Crawford and his son, Ethan Allen. Originally 8.25 miles in length, now 8.5 miles, the trail leads to the summit of Mt. Washington. 14. Types: trails can be located in different settings for various uses. These can include segregated. Trail segregation, the practice of designating certain trails as having a specific preferred or exclusive use, is increasingly common and diverse. 15. For example, bike trails are used not only on roads open to motor vehicles, but